I hurt myself during an outdoor workout, and I was sore for a few days, and then one day, about a week later, when I was helping my little boy into the car, giving him a little boost, just 5-pound lift with my hand, I had a sudden flood of pain that came down like a lightning strike, and I didn't go back to work. I went straight home, where I laid on the ground in the front room for about 4 days. So I've been at war with my back for about 15 years. I've had all kinds of back injuries, and I've gone through the usual process with my HMO, and they refer me to physical therapy, and I've gone through that, and I've been referred to orthopedic surgeons who usually offer pain management, pharmaceuticals, and I even landed in the office of a neurosurgeon who operated on me and gave me double spinal fusion. So I was not anxious to go through that process yet another time. So I called my doctor anyway at the HMO, and I didn't get to talk to him. I talked to the front office, and they told me when I asked for a referral to a chiropractor that they could do that, but first I had to schedule an appointment, and then they had to get the referral approved, and they were going to suggest physical therapy to start with. And I've been down this road. Physical therapy usually doesn't ask for any internal diagnostics before they start twisting you, stretching you, and telling you what to do. So they could actually make things worse. I was a little disenchanted with that process, and I know that the AMA kind of turns its nose up at the chiropractors. So I was desperate, so I grabbed the yellow pages and started looking through chiropractors, and I saw an ad that said spinal decompression, and that caught my interest because it sounded like it was what I needed, because I had, from what I could tell, is compressed disc. So I went, and I thought I could always find out what they have to offer and say no if it doesn't sound appealing. So I met with Dr. Karami, and the first thing I noticed is she was listening to me. Most of the other doctors that I've talked to didn't really look at me, they're looking at their chart. So she sat there and listened to what I had to say, and she told me, unfortunately, I wasn't a candidate for spinal decompression because I've had fusion already. But she said that there were some techniques that she thought I could benefit from, and I was very anxious and desperate, so I said yes. I liked the whole idea of a non-invasive approach, non-pharmaceutical approach. It was very natural sounding. Physical manipulation sounded good to me. So I started immediately. My first session was on a Friday, and it was very painful because I was already in pain, so I expected to be a little bit more pain before I got better. And actually the next day I did feel a little bit better. And the thing that struck me is Dr. Karami called me the next day, and that was a Saturday. She's not in the office on Saturday, and she wanted to know how I was doing. And I was really impressed with that. Another thing I was impressed with was at her office, I half expected her to push me off to an assistant, have the assistant do the work, and then come back in the last 5 minutes of the session and say, how'd we do today? But she didn't do that. She was the one that actually did the work. So she was getting instant feedback while she was working on me. And it changed through the session, in between sessions, as my body changed and reacted to the treatments. So it worked out really well. After a while, I started asking myself, well, am I benefiting from these treatments, or am I getting better, just healing naturally? And in between the sessions, I could tell that if you listen to your body closely, I was tender after the session, but then a day or two after the session, I could tell my body was starting to twist and fall back into the pain. And then I'd go for a session, and I'd be tender, but then I'd feel good again, and then I'd start falling back into the pain. So I could tell definitely that the treatments were beneficial. I wasn't just healing on my own. I probably would still be in pain today if I didn't go through this process. Some of the things that I can do now that I couldn't do when I was acute is to play with my son. When I was acute, I just laid on the ground and kind of groaned. He wanted to play. Come on, Daddy. Come on, Daddy. And I just said, I'm sorry, I can't even help you color right now because I can't lay on my stomach. But now I can crawl around the ground with him. I give him the horsey back rides. I play Wii with him. I can hug him. I can squat down with him, look him in the face, and that's the highlight of my day. That's the highlight of my week, my month. So just being able to interact with my son again is huge.